first, let's ask a pro. John Catsimatidis, Chairman and CEO of Red Apple Group, Christidis, D'Agostino, billionaire businessman and possible New York City mayoral candidate once again. John, I'm so glad you're with us. Thank you for being here. It's our pleasure to have you on, and I love when I have the opportunity to pick your brain. So let's just start with leaving the politics aside, because I know you're a centrist. So you want American jobs. You want the nation reopened. What needs to happen in what order? Is it stimulus? Is it vaccines? Is it reopening?
The President of the United States is Joe Biden. He's the leader of our people, all Americans. And he has to put his foot down that enough nonsense in Washington. Enough with this impeachment nonsense. It was all theater. And he has to put his foot down and say, let's go forward, not go backwards. Let's not talk about who shot who. And enough is enough. I think the Congress and I think the Senate, we should all get together and sit down and how are we going to progress the country forward instead of going through this impeachment nonsense. And everybody knew it was nonsense. And
okay, so tell me what's the forward part? Is it stimulus? Is it fiscal stimulus, monetary stimulus? How do we move it forward?
Well, step one is some of the big states. The country, the economy is going forward. I spoke with Larry Kudlow. I had dinner with him the other night. The economy is going forward. The big problem, California, Illinois, and New York. Those governors are shutting the place down. Why? If California, Illinois, and New York were doing well, and they opened up the economy again, the country's economy would soar. The other problem is executive orders at the level of the president. Getting certain things accomplished
Right. I want to keep on your business side of your background because you have a lifetime of business background. You have, first of all, you're an immigrant. You came here with nothing. You worked in the restaurant, and here you are, multi-billionaire. That being said, when you talk with other pros, other CEOs, other movers and shakers and entrepreneurs like yourself, what do they suggest? Is it, there's a lot of talk about higher minimum wage. There's people waiting in the wings for vaccines, but to get reopened. And when can we actually get jobs back?
Well, I think you can get jobs back when the average businessman feels that he could spend money and invest money in the state or cities that he wants to invest money and not fall behind the cracks. I think it's very important that business people feel comfortable in spending the money. The minimum wage should go up, but it has to go state by state where it's needed.
Right.
You can't, if you're 16 years old or 17 years old living at home, maybe you don't need $15 an hour versus being 22, 23 years old trying to live on your own. You do need a minimum wage of $15 an hour.
Right, and maybe you have a little baby, right? Maybe you're a single mom. Maybe I get what you're saying, John. You're always a good man. You're a philanthropist. I've known you a long time, and you always try and do the right thing for the people. And by the way, Larry Kudlow, you're WABC Radio. You have a great lineup, a lot of fun, like Joe Piscopo and Tony Orlando and Cousin Brucey. And I know you brought on, congratulations on bringing on the former White House economic advisor, Larry Kudlow. I think that's a great addition because people want to hear about jobs, economy, reopening, but they're scared too. Tell me about oil. You have a refinery in Pennsylvania. Oil's now above $60 a barrel. OPEC Plus talks about maybe, not having the curbs. Maybe they'll start to produce more now that prices are up. What are you thinking? Where does oil go?
I think what happened is, it's a long story on oil. It went from $45, $50 a barrel up to $60, $61 a barrel because of certain things that have been happening in our country. It turns out that's going to be a tax on the American people. It's a tax on the middle class. It's a tax on the poor people. They're going to end up paying more for their gasoline. Transportation costs more, so they're going to end up paying more for their food. And, we're in the food business, too. So
you're going to see some inflation,
poor and middle class people.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about, I have so many things I want to ask you, John. Forgive me for seeming so hasty. I also wanted to ask about some of the high-flying things that we've been seeing. Bitcoin, the frenzy around GameStop and AMC and all of that. Also, the third one would be SPACs. Are you a fan of any of these things?
Well, I'm not a fan of Bitcoins. I'm not a fan of trading billions of shares or millions of shares within seconds. I believe the stock market should be an investment vehicle, not a big casino. And I'm very, very much concerned about that. Bitcoins, who do you sue if something goes wrong? There's no chief responsible party. If I borrowed money from JP Morgan or Bank of America and they did something wrong, there's somebody to account to. But right now, who's accountable for Bitcoin? And
no, you make a great point.
Yeah. Well, my fear is when the music stops, something goes wrong. Oops, the computer somewhere in Asia went wrong, and you lost all your theoretical money. Who's accountable?
Tell me about where you invest your money, or where do you suggest people invest money? Because you talk about the market as an investment vehicle. What do you think is a good play for somebody? I mean, you have over $3 billion reportedly. I mean, how do we invest money for the long term?
Well, my son, John Jr., is chief investment officer for the company, and he invests quite a bit of money. And we have a balanced portfolio. We have 25% or 30% high-yield bonds. We have 25-30% grade equities, and so on. We invest in real companies, and we do invest maybe 5% in startups, another 5% maybe in SPACs. But we try to have a balanced portfolio for common sense from companies that we know are survivors, not companies that like a GameStop.
More established, not these fast things. I only have a few seconds left. Is there anything that's in a bubble? Anything at all that you're like, I would never touch that? Is it housing? Is it oil? Is it whatever? Anything tech? Anything in a bubble in your mind?
Well, I'm concerned about tech growing too fast. They're fine companies, and they're going to do well. But, you can't, I believe the markets are sine wave, and you can't invest on the top hoping it's going to go even higher. So you have to invest closer to the bottom.
Right. And, if you do it sort of religiously, a little more like dollar cost averaging, you'll catch all the tops and bottoms. Last thing, mayoral candidacy. It hasn't been declared that you're a candidate for mayor of New York City. You already ran once. You did well. Are you going to be putting in some big bucks to run for New York City mayor?
We're looking at it very seriously, but I'm not looking for fame, just to run just for fame. I'm looking to run because I think I could fix the city. I know I could fix the city on the back of my hand. We're just we're doing some soul searching.